You gotta keep on breathing if you wanna make sense of it all. We will not fall.
So let's take our Jan mudra. One of the first mudras that you tend to learn when you go to a yoga class. And it's the thumb pressing just nice and gently against the index finger. And the other three fingers are together and gently outstretched. So it's not like this, it's not forced or anything. It's just nice and rested into the palm of the hand. And just drop the wrists down to the knees, soften through the wrists, soften through the elbows. You can rest them in your lap if you like. That's it, yeah. And just allow the shoulders to soften away from the ears. So you're lengthening up through the neck. Gently, the shoulders become heavier and the ears start to lengthen away. And you feel that the spine is nice and tall, it's long, it's firm yet relaxed. And through our practice today, we will approach our practice from an expert, an experienced body, but through the eyes of a beginner, as if this were your first practice. So you're coming to the mat really being very experienced in mind and body, but to approach it from a beginner. And the beauty of the beginner is that sometimes you're not sure what to expect. And you enter the practice not knowing. And your mind has a potent way to live your life without expectation and full of possibility. If your mind is empty, it is always ready for anything. It is open to everything. And in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. But in the expert's mind, there are few. So thinking of our September theme, everybody's kind of going back to work after summer, going to college, school, university, whatever it is, we tend to draw everything back in. We rein things back in and have this back to school mentality. The beginner's mind is less likely to assume how something is going to be. The beginner's mind is less likely to judge something or someone as it doesn't have a story yet. The beginner's mind is less likely to label something as good or bad. It is what it is. The beginner's mind is not trying to get to the end as it is not sure where that is. The beginner's mind is without habits. The beginner's mind is less likely to have knee-jerk reactions. The beginner's mind is content to explore possibilities. And the beginner's mind is less anxious as it hasn't catapulted itself into the future. And I doubt that we can really recall our first yoga lesson. It might, you might have some memories of the first time that you practiced yoga. But think back to why you started yoga. What was the reason you came to the mat? And use that as your intention today. What do you need most? How do you want to feel during? And how do you want to walk away? So today, take more time to explore the postures, the entry and the exit points, investigating the use of props, and really draw into your experience of sensation and feeling. Feel the breath starting at the root, all the way up the spine to the crown of the head. Breathing long, slow, and deep. relaxed and easy breath, exhaling from crown to root. Relax your mudra, open the palms to receive, to welcome in anything that comes up for you today through your beginner's mind, wiggling fingers, moving wrists, circling shoulders. And let's come to our cat and cow. So bringing yourself onto the mat, just start to feel again, maybe we do this all the time, but imagine this is the first time that you come to your cat and cow posture. Start to feel the tabletop position. Notice everything about from the fingertips to the wrists to the shoulders, shoulders to the hips, hips to knees, knees to ankles, ankles to toes. Now start your cat and cow, following the flow of your breath. Inhaling for cow, slight back arch there, and exhaling, rounding into cat. You have an experienced mind and body, but your approach is as a beginner today. Moving through cat and cow with the flow of your breath. Not judging, just observing. Take it back into wide leg child's pose. Take the knees wide, bring the hips back to the heels. You can bring the head to the back of the hands, or you might be able to just simply use a block or a cushion. Or maybe the arms are outstretched in front of you. Just relax through that posture. If it feels tight, again, child's pose isn't easy for some. Just make sure that it's comfortable for you. Again, exploring with props. Feel the spine breathing. And we're going to go into our first posture of rabbit. So if you need to, you can place a cushion, if you have one handy, or a block underneath the crown of the head. So either on its flattest level, its medium, or its highest level. So Dad, I'd probably say go with the highest level. So you're really just resting the crown of the head down on there so that the head is level with your heart. If you like, you can simply bring the crown of the head down, and then that's below the heart. Hands come back to the calves, or you might take hold of the heels. So there's not a lot of pressure into the neck. Try not to fold the neck over on top of itself. The neck is nice and long. We are rounding through the spine. That's it. So we're lifting navel up towards the spine. That's it. Hips are above the knees. And we're gently pressing down into the shins and the tops of the feet. Yeah. So just notice here how much pressure you have into the crown of the head. Keep lengthening shoulders away from ears, pulling navel up towards the spine, rounding through the spine. We're not here for long. Steady, easy flow of breath. And gently drop it back into the child's pose. So you can keep the hands where they are, let the shoulders roll over the knees, and then just bring the side of your head, the temple, either left or right, to the mat. So just soften out there. And just notice as you come off the crown of the head, that kind of prolonged pressure. Nice and slowly bring the hands forward underneath the shoulders and take your time, super, super slow, rolling this back up into a kneel. So the chin stays in towards the chest. And you come up into that upright position. Good. And just notice that prolonged feeling of pressure on top of the crown of the head there. Sometimes it's easier to have the cushion underneath. We're going to come down onto our backs for a supported shoulder stand or a supported bridge. So you can use your block or you can use a cushion or your bolster. I'm going to go with block on the medium level. So you remember you've got these 3 levels of these props, and it's important to explore what works for you. So that goes underneath your sacrum. You can use the bolster as well, but bolsters tend to be quite high. So Dad, I'd probably actually say use the red blanket underneath you. That will just be enough for you. Yeah, so let's start in bridge. We're working up towards our supported shoulder stand here. So supported shoulder stand is with both legs lifted up towards the sky. You can, of course, stay in this supported bridge pose if you don't want to take the legs up. Arms might come to cactus, so they come back behind you, palms face up. Start by lifting one leg up towards the sky. And then once you feel that you are comfortable on that prop underneath you, lift the other leg up. Now, if those hamstrings are particularly tight, soften into the back of the knees. That's it. So you can release the pressure and the strain on the back of the legs, giving in all of your weight into your prop, spreading out the shoulders. Keep the neck long. Try to just gaze up towards the sky and not towards the screen. Feel the weight of the legs and the hips just gently bearing down in towards your prop. Slow and steady breaths. You can close the eyes here or simply have that drishti up towards the toes and beyond. Feet are relaxed. There's no pressure to point or flex or tense into any of the muscles of the legs. Try and soften the belly into the spine. Spine drops a little bit more into your prop. If at any point you become dizzy and you need to come down, please do. Just a 2-minute hold here. So nice and slowly bending at the knee, placing left and right feet back down into your supported bridge. Bring the hands back down by the side of the body. Spread the shoulders, palms are gently facing up, and just dropping into that supported bridge once more. Good. Lift the hips as you press through the feet. Take that proper way and gently and slowly roll down. Shoulders, upper back, middle back. You're going to start to feel that as you bring the lower back down. And then the spine spreads out underneath you on the mat and you extend the legs. Take a moment just to allow that response in the body. Good. And a couple of options on the next one. You might just simply draw the knees in towards the chest, or you can go for your plow or halasana or snail, or you might use the bolster again to lift the buttocks up for that plow and that snail. So I'm going to use the bolster. So just bring that again underneath. So Dad, I would say just keep knees into chest. Don't use the bolster because it lifts your hips up too high for your head and heart. So knees into chest. That's it. So our snail pose, we're going to start to lift the knees and then curl into a tight, tight ball. The bolster kind of comes all the way underneath the spine, and then you can start to drop the knees down by the side of the ears. Buttocks go up to the sky. Arms might be back behind you. You might straighten the legs. So it's a supported plow, supported snail. And maybe you want to come away from the bolster so you can gently lift the hips away. You can stay with the knees bent there, and that's okay too. You might simply take the feet and just pull the thighs closer towards the chest. Keeping the neck nice and long, gazing up towards the sky. Try not to move the neck left and right to look at the screen if you can, because there's a lot of weight bearing down onto the vertebra in the neck here. Nice and slowly bring those feet back and then gently roll back onto the bolster. The feet come down, press through the feet, slide the bolster away, and then place it underneath the knees. So this is where, Dad, you can pop the bolster underneath the knees there. Good. And just take it again, these response postures, allowing the breath to release the spine. That's actually a flexion of the spine. That snail, the spine is deeply curved, deeply bent. So that's why I said give yourself the variation of using the props or just simply drawing the knees in towards the chest. So from here, we can take out our bolster and we can slide it by the side of us, and without too much effort, we're going to bring it underneath us, lengthways along the mat for our supported fish. So bringing yourself back onto your bolster and dropping the head back to the bolster, or again, using a block underneath the head. So again, exploring what props you have around you. That's it. Lovely. Opening up into that supported fish. Your choice here to keep the feet all the way along the mat, or maybe you just like to bring the soles of the feet together into butterfly. Letting the hips relax out to the side. Arms are out to the side. Palms are gently facing up again. Approaching each of these postures with a beginner's mind, a beginner's approach. Like you've never done them before. We're putting these postures together in a unique way from the crown down to the feet. So we're working down the spinal column. So the crown was our rabbit. Then we come down into the neck for our shoulder stand, our plow. Now we're coming into the shoulders, the upper back for our fish. I'm going to stay here for just a little bit longer than the supported shoulder stands and plows. Those are the more challenging postures. Maintaining focus into sensations, feelings, new experiences as a beginner. Each and every time you come to the mat could be almost like the very first time because it's always going to be different. Take a deep breath in. Long, slow, deep breath out. That's the signal that we're going to move. So we bring the hands to the thighs. If we had butterfly, lift the legs together, place the soles of the feet down. Hands come down by the side of the body and gently press into the elbows to lift the head and the gaze towards the knees. And then roll yourself over. Take away those props. And go all the way back down into Shavasana. Take a moment just to allow that response posture, the rebound with no props in your spine. Lift the arms up above the head, bring the feet together, big, big stretch. Reach the arms back behind you, reach the feet away. And then as you breathe out, soften everything to draw the knees in towards the chest and slowly roll and massage out through the spine. Circle the knees one way and the other. And let's take our time just to roll over to one side, pausing there before we come back up. And then gently pressing and coming to seated. So this is where we come into a seated forward fold. And again, you have props, so use those, explore. You can take the bolster underneath the knees if you like. I really like that forward fold option. You might use the blocks to support the head. You might use the bolster to support the head. That's nice too. That's really nice. Or you don't have to use any props at all. And you can simply take that caterpillar, exhaling and releasing over. Good. So here we're going to hold for a few minutes. Again, approaching this posture for the very first time today. Notice sensations, feelings, experiences, and just allowing the mind and body to continue to be present with yourself. Each breath out allows you to deepen even more. Letting the head release and relax, softening through the neck. Relaxing any tension in the head, the face, the jaw. Breathing out, relaxing into the shoulders and the spine. working down towards the middle back. So breathe into the thoracic spine. Breathe deep into the lungs and the waists. Keeping the chin towards the chest, taking a nice deep breath in and out, preparing the mind and the body to come out of the posture nice and slowly, rolling up through the spine. There's never any rush. You come all the way back upright, shoulders stack back up on line with the hips, and then the head comes up. Sitting nice and tall, just feeling what it's like to come out of that forward fold. And just reach the hands back behind you. Fingertips might face forward and just open the chest just a little. Nothing's too forced here. Just that recovery and response. Bring yourself back. Move the bolster out of the way and swing the legs around all the way behind you. This time we come down into prone. So down onto our bellies. Bring the head to the back of the hands. And just allow the big toes to meet into the center of the mat and let the heels fall out to the side. Notice now across the lower back, relaxing into the belly, relaxing into the hips and the pelvis. Give the belly all of the release here into the mat. Shimmy and shake the hips left and right. Relax through the glutes there, soften through all of the muscles. Widen the feet, get all 10 toes pressing down. Let's come up into Sphinx. The elbows might rest underneath the shoulders, or you might bring them gently forward. But again, try to not let the ears crunch down to the shoulders. Keep the ears spaced away from the collarbones. Close the eyes, soften the gaze, open the chest. Try not to let the heels roll in towards one another. Rather, the heels just go straight up to the sky. All 10 toes are connected and touching. And approaching Sphinx as if it were your very first time doing this, noting and observing what you're feeling in the posture. Remember those the readings about the beginner's mind. No judgment, not waiting for the ending because you don't know when it is. Enjoying the process to get you there. Maintaining a steady flow of breath in this back bend. Allowing the pelvis to ground and become heavier. Allowing the chest to become more open. Taking a deep breath in and out. Signaling that it's time to move from the posture. So press into the palms to lift the elbows and then roll down rib cage as the elbows go wide. Head to the back of the hands, big toes touch, heels fall out. Soften, soften, soften. Relax glutes, give the hips a little shimmy and a shake from left to right. And just reach the right hand back. See if you can take hold of the right foot here. Gently lengthening the thigh away from you, pulling the hip flexor down. We're going to pull that right heel in towards the buttock. Just for 1 minute. Soften into the gluteals. Breathe in, breathe out, let it float down. Swap to the left. And as you take the foot, draw the heel in, pull the hip flexor down as you lengthen the thigh away. Just 1 minute. Relaxing into the glutes. Release, let it float down. Bring the head to the back of the hands. Sway the hips out, and here's really nice if you just bend at the knee, lift the feet up towards the air, and then just windscreen wiper those feet left and right. So they just drop out to each side of your mat. That's a really nice release into the buttocks and the spine. And nice and slowly bring yourself back through tabletop. So let's find our tabletop position once more, and then you can start to mobilize through those cat and cows and see if you actually have any further movement. I certainly do in extension, but not always in flexion, because flexion is my problem area with my injury. So again, hoping that you have some more freedom in the spine. Gently pull yourself back into that wide leg child's pose, head to the back of the hands, elbows go wide, and just soften there. Maybe you also have a little bit more movement into the hips. And slowly roll yourself up to kneeling, all the way through the spine. And let's spin those legs around in for our half spinal twist. Legs go out in front of us. The right leg crosses over the left. Now you can place that at the calf, or you might like to bring it a little bit closer up towards the shin. We're going to twist towards that thigh, and you can simply hug the knee there. Or if you want to deepen that, you can put the elbow across, but I think it's quite nice just to hug. We're staying here for a couple of minutes, so you can relax the underneath leg. It doesn't have to be active. Gaze might look forward or back over the shoulder, but nothing is forced in these twists here. Good. Each breath in lengthens the spine from root to crown, and exhaling, deepening the rotation. Opening the chest out to the side of the mat. Keeping the focus present to sensations, feelings in the twist. Noticing where you might feel the pulls or the stresses and the tension. Nice and slowly release, bring it back into the center. Change legs. And you can keep that foot by the calf or by the thigh. Sit nice and tall, but on both sit bones. Get the belly free of that left thigh. And again, you can take that hug, holding onto the knee and the thigh, opening up the chest to the left side of your mat. Good. So relaxing the underneath leg. There's no tension into the foot, the ankle, calf, back of the knee. Noticing any differences as we've changed sides. Keep the focus present, not being distracted. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to deepen. And bringing yourself back in through the center. Let the legs extend, take the feet wide, and just drop the knees over. Windscreen wiper, left and right. Good. How are we feeling? Good, good. Has anybody realized what sequence this is? It's the yin variations of the Sivananda 12. So if you come to a Tuesday night or a Saturday morning class, you'll experience the Hatha versions of these. So now we go into a dangle, which is a standing forward fold. So you can, of course, come into that forward fold from a down dog. So I'm going to do the down dog as a release because that's really, really nice. If you come up into the dangle, then you've got your option of using the bolster or 2 blocks to rest the head on. So having the props by the side of you and just coming up into a nice relaxed downward facing dog or a tabletop. That's always an option. You can pedal out the feet, releasing a heel at a time, stretching through the back of the legs, just being aware of the spine. And then you start to walk the feet into the center of your mat. Make sure that you get the weight nice and evenly distributed between the feet, the toes, and the heels. Bend the knees. Let the body fold and dangle over bent knees. Let the chest come to the thighs. So if you are supporting the head with the blocks or the bolster, just try and soften through the neck there. And if you're starting to straighten the back of your legs, go easy into the back of the knees and back of the hamstrings, trying to keep the weight into the toes as much as possible, so lightness into the heels. They are grounded, but they're very light. Let the head relax and release. You might like to give all the weight in by taking hold of the elbows. So this is a 2-minute dangle. You've already done about 45 seconds of that. So crown of the head reaches down towards the mat. Sit bones reach up towards the sky. This would be your standing forward fold in your Hatha Yoga. Keeping that belly, chest as close to the thighs as it feels comfortable. Again, approaching this from the beginner's mind with an experienced body. Using the exhale to release the tightness and tension in the back and the back of the legs. Just a few more breaths. And bring the hands down. Gently lift up into a half lift there. Lengthening the spine, and then just release a leg back. And the other leg back. Woo! Take your time, because you've been upside down. It's been another inversion, just like the down dog and the rabbit. Okay, we're going to come down onto our backs. So maybe having a strap is handy, but you don't necessarily need it. We're going to swing the legs around in front of us and take a nice slow roll down through the spine. See if you can control this roll down by pulling the belly in towards the back and the back in towards the mat. So the last thing that comes to the mat are your shoulder blades and the back of your skull. Keep breathing through that roll down, each and every vertebra. Nice, beautiful, well, good. Controlled release there. Draw the knees in, create space between the thigh and the belly here, so you can drop the thighs either side of the rib cage. Rock and roll gently from side to side, and then also release into the hips there, so you can circle those knees around one way and the other. Good. How's the backs feeling? Good. So just keeping the right knee in towards the chest. This is where we come into a little bit of a hamstring stretch. It's a reclined leg stretch 1. So you can take hold of the foot, the ankle, the calf, or at the back of the thigh, or use a strap. You can extend the underneath leg, or you can keep that bent. But we're not trying to get the leg straight and away from us. We're trying to keep the thigh in towards the chest and lengthen from the back of the knee. Okay, so notice how that feels when you start to extend from the back of the knee. You might start to feel the tremors already. When you extend that underneath leg, you want to pull that leg down if you choose that option. Again, exhaling into tightness and tension there. That's really good. Well done. So the leg is soft. The foot doesn't have to be pointed or flexed, because as soon as I flex, my calves engage, back of the knee, the hamstrings, and I just want to allow all of those bigger muscles to release so that I can work onto the connective tissue in the back of the leg. Trying to let that thigh drop, 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 drop deeper. And visualization techniques help quite a lot. And you visualize that those toes are coming way back over the back of your head. Softening through the face and the neck, making sure you're not taking tension in anywhere else in the body, because we're very good at redirecting tension from the areas where it might be feeling into somewhere else. Nice and slowly bend at the back of that right leg, and you can then extend both legs all the way along the mat. My right leg now feels to me like it's about 3 or 4 inches longer than my left. I know that it's not, but it feels that way. Draw the knees in. Roll and massage out. Again, give your space between the belly and the thighs. Circling out, opening the knees, and just releasing into the hips. Keep the left knee in towards the chest and the belly. Place the right leg down, bent for the time being. Keep that knee as close as you can, preparing to extend on your next exhale. And again, the extension comes from the back of the knee rather than the back of the entire leg. So extending the underneath leg is going to challenge and make that posture more intense, but pull the back of your extended right leg down. So make sure you start to pull the knee and the thigh down as well. Good. And there's no flexion or pointing in that left foot, left ankle. You're relaxing into the connective tissue of that left leg. If you feel any tremors here, maybe you've gone a little bit too far, and you can bend the knee, softening that thigh back down towards the chest. And start the process once more with the exhales into the back of the leg. Approaching these stretches as if they were the very, very first time you were doing them. Never done them before, you don't know what to expect, you can't judge, you don't know how long, you don't know the end. Trying to just feel the sensations and the experience as it happens, being completely present. Soften through the back of the knee, release the heel to the buttock, and then extend both legs slowly, slowly, slowly along the mat. Come into full Shavasana just to rest and allow the body to respond and recover. Notice where you felt that posture, particularly that reclined leg stretch. And then just shake the toes, roll the ankles, shake into the legs and the buttocks, shimmy the hips left and right, move the shoulders, massage the shoulders, and then just drop the chin over to the shoulders, stretching into the neck. Lift the arms up above the head, give the body a big, 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 big stretch, reach hands back, toes down. And then exhale, draw the knees in towards the chest, come into a really tight, tight ball if you can, lifting the head and the neck, bringing the forehead up towards the knees. And then let's come into happy baby, widening the knees out, taking the feet, you can hold the back of the thighs, start to pull those knees downwards and away from the rib cage. Let's roll from side to side. Maybe a knee drops down towards the mat. And then bring it back into stillness. I'm going to stay here for a couple of minutes. Try not to force the posture. Feel the release where it comes, drawing tailbone downwards. And release the feet to the buttocks. And place the soles of the feet wide. Drop the knees gently towards one another in the center. And spread the pelvis out underneath you. Bring the hands down onto the belly. Take a moment to rest. And then just gently open the knees up to the sky and then drop them over right. You can stay there for a little opening stretch. Nice, just gentle twist. And then breathe in, bring the knees back. You're going to roll over onto the other side of the feet, letting the knees drop over to the other side. I'm hoping that this practice was full body. It included twists, rotations of the spine, flexions, which are the folds, your back extensions, your back bends. And bring those knees back in. Last time, draw the knees in, roll and massage out. And make yourself warm for Shavasana. The body temperature tends to drop quite quickly. And extending those legs all the way along the mat. It might be really nice to use the bolster underneath the knees because this is particularly a spinal practice. Resting the knees over the top of the bolster just allows the lower back to soften and relax a little bit more. So just making sure that the feet are down on the mat, the knees are nice and wide, and your arms are out to the side, palms are face up as you spread the shoulder blades out. So you can start to feel the whole of the spine start to connect in towards the mat. Good. Closing the eyes using eye pillows. Softening through the facial expression here, really allowing the eyes to just drop deeper into the sockets as you relax the areas around the temples, the forehead, and the jaw. And again, approaching your relaxation, your Shavasana, your final reward, as if it were your very, very first time doing this in a yoga class. And you don't know what to expect. You don't know how long you're going to be lying here. So enjoying this complete relaxation, not knowing when you're going to get cooled out of it. Letting yourself rest and relax, be in the moment, and not get pulled away by distractive thoughts. I'll let you know when it is time to come back around. A few deeper breaths now as you bring your awareness back into your surroundings, into your space, onto your mat. Starting to move the body slowly, fingers, wrists, toes, ankles. And just choosing to stretch out, gently drawing the knees in and rolling out once more through the spine. And there is never any rush to return back up to seated from your Shavasana. So once you are ready, gently rolling over to one side, bringing yourself up to a comfortable seat and bringing the hands into the heart center, Anjali Mudra. As you sit here, remind yourself of our theme for this month, which is approaching your practice as if it were the first time, once again, with a beginner's approach, a beginner's mind, and an experienced body. And how you wanted to feel on that very, very first yoga practice that you ever went to, and how you now feel now, and your takeaways from the class. Remembering the reading, if your mind is empty, it is always ready for anything. It is open to everything. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. Always thanking yourself and your body and your breath for your practice today, and I thank you all. Namaste.